governors got together and said, look, let's play for a hog. Let's play for a pig.
Ben and Eric gather at their laptops. One's a gopher, one's a Hawkeye. Hello, everybody. It's the Pot of Rosedale. Bronze Pig full of hot takes. I'm Ben, Iowa fan, along with my co-host Eric. You're a fan of what team is it again?
Minnesota Golden Gophers. I almost said Vikings there for a second. Gopher fan. We're bringing the hot takes today, just so you're all prepared. If you're listening to this and you want a bronze pig full of hot takes, we're bringing them.
Spicy hot bacon coming your way. So Eric, week 2 in the books. We didn't have any Big Ten games this week. Not a single solitary one. A lot of non-conference matchups. Some Power 5. Mostly didn't go well for the Big Ten. A couple of wins. What are your general thoughts of the past week in the Big Ten?
Past week in the Big Ten West looks really sour, is I think the overall feeling I have about
that
it.
That's sour gusher sour. Yeah, that's a fair statement.
Kind of sour gusher you might choke on if you don't chew it too fast.
Well, somebody's gonna choke down on a sour gusher and win this division. So
you were just saying before we recorded, Minnesota and I were the only two undefeated teams
that have no losses.
And the Big Ten East only has one team with a loss, which is interesting, right? Indiana's the only team with a loss in the Big Ten East.
That's true. There was a little scare. Maryland scared me for a little bit. They seem to really be putzing around pretty hardcore with Charlotte.
I'm shocked you didn't come in just patting yourself on the back. That's where I thought you would. Because you tend to do that. You like a good pat on your own back.
I love my opinion so much, Eric.
You are very proud of yourself when you get things right, and you got a few things right over the weekend. So I thought you would be over here just
we'll get there.
Shaking your own hand.
There. I mean, when we get to specific takeaways, we'll get there. I mean, I think there's a certain Big Ten West team that seems to have a pretty terrible defense. I mean, I don't want to spoil anything, but their name runs
you could pick two.
Illinois.
Okay, I thought you were going to jump on Nebraska, but yeah.
Nebraska's defense is good. I mean, they got...
Is Colorado that good? Are we really... Deion's that... Why don't I believe it yet?
I don't know. I don't know. Nebraska's... No, I'm a believer in Nebraska's
Colorado
defense.
Was terrible last year. And now they're a ranked team. What, are they going to win the national title? Is Deion that good of a coach?
They have 2 Heisman contenders, I think. Yeah,
so it's just because Deion's son is that good?
I guess.
Which
I don't know.
Would make sense. I mean, Deion was that.
I'm a believer in Nebraska's defense. Like 8 sacks or something ridiculous against Colorado. I mean, they were tenacious. They got worn down because Nebraska's offense is terrible and Jeff Sims just keeps turning the ball over a whole bunch. Nebraska's offense is the liability, but now they just look like a Big Ten West team. I mean, welcome. This is your true reckoning with the Big Ten West, Nebraska. You are one of us. One of us.
Colorado put 36 points against them.
Sure, but what was their time of possession? How many turnovers did Nebraska have? 36 points at the altitude when Nebraska's offense does nothing. I'm not that worried about it. I think their defense was pretty good. I mean, the fact that they were even in that game.
I thought they looked good against Gophers. So.
Well, I think the Gophers also have a terrible offense. I mean, we can talk about Callie Akmanis. Are you still a believer in Callie Akmanis? You've been convinced he's an upgrade.
Yes, has not played well. What are his stats compared to McNamara? I bet they're pretty close.
Sure. Well, let's see here.
If we're
this past week, Callie Akmanis was 10 for 15 for 117 yards and a pick.
Not great.
Against Eastern
Michigan. But they
Michigan.
did the old PJ bullshit where you're just running the ball 1,000 times and you barely throw it.
Gophers finally ran the ball well. This was a big thing. Yeah. I mean, 56 rushing attempts is an awful lot from the Gophers. Over 5 yards carry. They almost broke 300 yards.
That was last season. I mean, that was very Mo Ibrahim-esque.
Yeah, we'll see. Maybe that approach will work in the Big Ten West. We will see. But yes, he didn't pass a lot. He converted a lot. He just didn't. They weren't for a ton of yards. And I mean, 10 for 15 for 117 yards isn't bad.
No, he threw an interception. I think he ran one in too.
Yeah, no, it's not terrible. But it was Eastern Michigan.
McNamara 12 for 22 and 123 yards. Not great.
No, he threw a pick too.
Your big recruit. Coming in,
he missed a couple
Somebody
of
saying
throws.
he might be the best quarterback you've had in 20 years. Somebody said that. I don't know.
He missed a couple of deep throws. One was wide open. Seth Anderson was wide open. It would have been a 95-yard touchdown. He missed him by just needs the slightest. Spencer
Petras it?
Much closer than I think Spencer Petras would have gotten. just floated it a little bit more. He was under a lot of duress, but he floated it. And if he got a little bit more air into it, it would have been 95-yard touchdown. The numbers would look a lot better.
So now we're talking it. So what's the Brian Ferentz watch? This should be. We need like a sound effect, like a ding 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 every time we talk about it. So they put up 20 against Iowa State.
Oh yeah. Well, you want me to do a little horn tooting? I mean, what? How did you say the game against Iowa State was going to go?
I said 37-7. I think is what I said. Something.
Oh
like
wow.
That.
So was that how it turned out? Was it like that?
Oh no. Sorry, I didn't get the final score exactly right.
You a 30-point blowout. I said 17-13. It was 20-13.
Iowa State scored 10 in the fourth quarter. It wasn't very close.
Fourth quarter points don't count. I'm sorry.
It was 17-3 at halftime. This wasn't a very close game.
I mean, because Iowa got the pick six, basically. It would have been 10-0, but for the pick six, which made it be not close.
Will count for Brian Ferentz's.
It will. It certainly will. So 20 points. So 4 or 5 short of the goal.
That average is dropping. It needs to be going. It's going in the wrong direction for this guy to keep his job.
This is probably the last chance for a really get right game for the offense, points wise. Just last chance.
So they need to put up 30 to actually get him back on track.
30 would put them slightly ahead, just ever so slightly ahead.
So in that range.
31. If he gets to 31, he's at the average. You get to 38 or 45, you start giving yourself just a little bit of breathing room. You start getting there a little bit more.
So expect the airs out of the tires. He's going to let him rip a little bit.
I would assume he'd want to. It's going to get real tough the next week when you have to go to Happy Valley for a night game. It gets real tough real fast.
To put up, I mean, they might win, but to put up a lot of points, that's going to be tough.
Yeah, no, I don't think I was going to win either. But to put up more than 24 points, yes. If Iowa wins, it's going to be because they pull Penn State into a mucky, ugly, tedious game. That's why, for sure.
So is Beth Getz is the athletic director, right, for Iowa?
Temporary. We think she's probably going to be
sending him a weekly email like, here's where you're at.
I doubt
where
it.
You need to be, your report card.
I think she's probably hoping that he hits the number because
he's aware of it, though, right? I mean, as we talked about, you were so incredulous that I didn't know was part of the contract. But he is aware of where his number. He's tracking this himself, right?
Of course, he's got to want to hit it. Kirk's got to want him to hit it. I mean, I know you think Kirk secretly wants to fire his son, but not be blamed for it. I don't think that's a hot take. That's a fiery, hot lava take.
He knows he's got to go, and he doesn't have the guts to do it, or have the strength to fire.
I don't think Kirk wants him to go. I mean, this is where Kirk is. He does not Kirk likes doing things his way. He's been doing this a long time. He likes being.
But he knows it's not working. He's got to know it's not.
I don't know if he does or not. It's tough to tell. Is he delusional or not? Because he'll say stuff like, "We averaged 23 points a game in 2009, and that seemed to work out pretty good." And he'll say stuff like that. I don't know. It seems just fine. Or, in 2021, Iowa goes 10-2 and wins the Big Ten West. Who won the Big Ten West? What do you want? What do you want from me? I need to win more pretty? We won 10 games. We got to go to Indianapolis. I don't think he likes having to make changes. He's never fired a coordinator. This is the third offensive coordinator that they've had, and he's never fired one. And they've had 2 defensive coordinators. He really doesn't like doing it, and I certainly don't think he wants to fire his son. I mean, you can believe that. Maybe you're right secretly. I don't know, but I doubt it.
That's what it's called, a hot take, Ben.
I know. I think he wants Brian to hit the number. I think if he hits the number, I think Beth wants him to hit the number.
Yeah, I think in a perfect world, he wants his offense to look good and score and be competent.
He said he doesn't care about the offense looking good. He wants the offense to burn clock to save his defense's
competent
legs. I don't think that
he does not want his quarterback throwing interceptions.
No, he doesn't want turnovers. That's for sure. He doesn't want turnovers.
And he wants first downs, right? No? Does he not want first downs?
He seems ambivalent about first downs. Are you
literally telling me your coach is indifferent about getting a first down? Does he want to score points?
I mean, if you score points, nice.
This is breaking my head that you're saying this right now.
Points is for fancy rich people who aren't really salt of the earth.
Oh my God!
Who don't care about the little things. I mean,
your coach doesn't want to score points. Is what you're telling me. That's what I'm hearing out of you right now.
I'm saying it's up for debate, is what I'm saying.
That's crazy.
I think scoring points isn't a big priority for him. At the very least, it's a very secondary, tertiary, quaternary priority for him.
Wow.
So
I'm stunned right now. I don't know what to say. That's crazy. That's crazy talk.
This is why I think a lot
And
of
the
Iowa
fact that you
fans
might
are
be
frustrated.
right is even crazier.
Well, this is why Iowa fans get frustrated, because it's one thing to say, hey, winning 7-8 games occasionally, contributing to a Big Ten title. As far as results go, hey, that's not that bad. Beating your rivals more often than not, sure. The problem is it's tough to take that you're trying to put the best team out there seriously when it does not seem like you're doing everything possible to have as good of an offense as you possibly could. When you basically, anytime he talks about having a better offense, he acts like that'll mean his defense starts to get bad. That if the offense gets better at moving the football, it'll immediately make I don't know. Whatever. This is old hat stuff here. We're all used to this.
Well, just to shift gears,
they beat Iowa State.
Beat Iowa State, right? Won the Cy-Hawk Trophy. Got it back.
Working towards
you
that over.
You beat a team that half their team have been expelled,
but not their defense. The defense is great. So that'd be the big difference I would make between Cali Ekman's performance and McNamara's performances. Minnesota played Eastern Michigan and Iowa played Iowa State, which is top 10 difference. But that's fine. I think McNamara is getting healthier. I think you were right on that one, Eric. He does seem to be getting healthier. He said his quad feels as good as any. He feels pretty close to 100%. That can open up just the occasional scramble for him. That's awesome. That would be great. So we'll see.
Anything more you want to say about the Iowa State game?
No, it plays out how they pretty much always do. A couple of dumb plays. Iowa blocks a Iowa State field goal, gets a pick six. That's pretty much the difference. And then Iowa State just took a comically long time on their drive in the middle of the fourth quarter. I mean, it took it was 6 minutes off the clock. There was 8 minutes left in the fourth quarter, and they drove it down. But they weren't in a hurry up. Play clock was going down to 1, 2, 3, 4 seconds. I mean, anyway, that was funny. And then they go for a running play on 4th and 1 and get stuffed, and that's the end of the game, basically. So nothing new to say about that.
I was just going to say, shifting gears, while we're patting ourselves in the back, I'm patting myself in the back now. Wisconsin lost.
Yeah, well,
I believe I picked the upset.
You did, indeed, sir.
I believe I was early on I don't think Wisconsin is going to be as good as people think they are.
So what about Wisconsin performance was lacking to you? This isn't a trick question. I'm trying to figure Wisconsin out. Why do you think Wisconsin lost?
Couldn't run the ball.
That's
statistically,
true. Okay.
both their, Braylon.
Yep.
Couldn't get off the ground. Couldn't move much. And, they threw the ball, but I think the running game, which traditionally in Wisconsin has been their bread and butter, couldn't run the ball. Yeah, I think it's going to take time. They're shifting their offense. It's a whole new system. They're not going to win right away. And this was a clear example. Now, Washington State is kind of a weird deal because aren't they the last remaining Pac-10 team at this point?
Washington State and Oregon State.
Yeah, so there's a couple left, which is weird. They're and they have not yet signed on to another conference, right?
No,
so they're
I think they're trying
free
to figure
agents,
out,
basically.
They're free agents. They can join a lesser one. They can try to. I don't know. Their options are bad. They only have bad options. But yes, good for them. Washington State, I think, needed that win and something positive to have happen. Also good for them. Wisconsin also fumbled a bunch too. That was another problem. They had lost 3 fumbles. Pass the ball better.
Your theory of moving west or traveling west might be a factor as well.
Sure, they didn't play great, but they passed the ball pretty well. And I don't know, Wisconsin's run defense looks as great as it ever was. I don't think it's going to be easy to run the ball on them. Passing, maybe there's some hay to be made there. I don't know. I'm trying to figure out Wisconsin, and I can't tell is Washington State maybe a little better than we thought. Is it just going west? We'll see. But that certainly hurts the quest for the Wisconsin over. They now, banking on Ohio State loss. Now you're at 10 wins, and we'll see. I think, we'll see. I'm curious to see what Wisconsin does. I'm undecided. I now have a little bit of doubt. Where I was a lot more confident, I'm now a little bit of doubt has crept in. So I'm moving a step towards your camp that the Wisconsin hype is unjustified. They're still probably the front runners, but that might just be that the Big Ten West is just not a great division.
Could be. They're going to say the only other game is Purdue winning on the road against Virginia Tech. That was kind of surprising. I don't remember who picked that or.
Well, you picked Purdue mostly because you were hoping that. I think you thought they would lose, but then you were hoping they went for the over. It was a good one. It's a close game. I don't know how good Virginia Tech is, but Penn State or Purdue, excuse me, got the win, so that's all right. And then you kind
It's
of
a
gloss
Power
over
5 team.
Yeah, well, you're glossing over the Friday night game. I'm just going to point out you did pick Illinois to beat Kansas.
Yeah, I didn't want to talk about
close.
that. Illinois doesn't look good.
They gave up over 500 yards. They've now given up an average of 450 yards in 2 games. I think their defense turns out losing a bunch of guys to the NFL and your defensive coordinator means you take a step back on defense. Who would have thought?
I'm going to be wrong about that, but it also means maybe easier wins for our football clubs.
We'll see. I think they'll get better. I mean, I don't think Illinois is at the best, playing the best they have, or they will. But they don't look like world beaters. And then, of course, side note, your Northwestern Wildcats, dominant win over the University of Texas El Paso, 38-7.
Needed it.
Needed it. And the quest for the Northwestern over, big one. They had to have that one. They now have to go on the road to Duke as massive underdogs, but we'll get there. And boy, this Michigan State situation.
Yeah, that was kind of the news of the week, I think. Definitely worth talking about.
Of course. I think they're just waiting for the investigation to end. They can't fire him just yet, technically, but this is just everything but he's everything but technically fired. Just up to that. They're just waiting.
Well, I was just reading an article by the woman. So USA Today posted an article and apparently revealed her for the first time.
Oh.
Because this all happened like years ago.
Oh, jeez.
I think in 2021 was when it originally occurred. She was high. I mean, the crazy thing about it, so if you don't know this story, right, I guess people listening to this might not know what's happening. Michigan State's coach has been suspended because he's been accused of sexually harassing someone he brought into the program as a sexual harassment educator, which is, I mean, it's disgusting, but hard not to find kind of just idiotic, right? Like, of all the things you're going to do to harass a sexual harassment educator is just insane and stupid.
You're really huffing the power if you think that makes any sense. Like if you're just rational brain is not functioning even a little bit.
And his defenses too are like, I thought it was all consensual. It's like, dude, that's the point of all this is like you think it is, but it's not because she doesn't think it is. Like everything, right. All of his defenses seem to be only like just admitting that because he admitted he masturbated on the phone, like all sorts of crazy shit that he did with this lady.
Oh yeah, he's right. He's not denying the allegations really.
And it's like all that sounds like sexual harassment. Like what you're saying you did sure sounds like sexual harassment to me.
It sounds like the Louis C.K. thing again.
Yeah. So, there was a hearing set up. I guess they heard evidence from it, and there wasn't supposed to go public at all. But I think USA Today announced who these allegations were and when the hearing was, and then he's gone on the defense, releasing all of what he says happened. I don't think she's ever claimed allegations publicly, and so I think it's all he's going to get fired. He's trying to get as much money as he can while this happens.
Oh yeah, I mean he's trying. It's a for cause thing that he's fine. I mean he's not keeping his job. He's going to argue that he's entitled to a bunch of money. That's all. That's the fight. Is the money?
Yeah, because he won't ever have another job. And I mean the backdrop too of this. It's Michigan State where they had a doctor accused of heinous
Larry
things.
Nassar. Oh yeah,
Larry Nassar for years, and they covered it up. And it's like, fucking goddamn it! Why would you? It's crazy. Fire him, move on. Let's.
They will when they can. They're trying to put all the ducks in a row and make sure they can fire him for cause, so they don't have to pay him, and that's gonna. It's ugly. It's awful. I have no idea. I mean, both Minnesota and Iowa play Michigan State. Does this help them? Does this hurt them? Is it indifferent? I have no idea what this means.
Well, they apparently
State.
had a lot of faith in this coach, right? They paid him a lot of money, signed him for a long-term deal.
No, this is Paul Fanson. It's Spartans Illustrated. Dr. Green and White. He said, this is a big gamble, and the gamble clearly did not pay off. Put a lot of money on him, and the university might be going bust on him. It's brutal. Mark D'Antonio coming back. This is. Well,
and I also saw that Michigan, the University of Michigan, had hired this woman previously too, and so they're asking Harbaugh, well, what do you think about all this? And he's like, I won't comment, but all I know is I've worked with her before, and I think she's, really great at her job. And it's Okay, sure, but and he's married too. Not that it matters, but like all of the evidence around this, like I don't know what happened. Obviously, it wasn't there. All I'm reading is the news reports, but it's like just what's been reported and like what he's admitted to is bad news. Get this guy out of there.
Yeah, it's a mess. Just yet another coaching change, another Big Ten mess of a situation. But hey, let's make a very smooth transition from something serious and a bummer and depressing to talking sports games, Eric. So Friday night, are you going to be tuning in to the University of Virginia traveling to College Park to take on the Maryland Terrapins?
Probably not. Probably not going to watch that game. But it's interesting because you've been heavy on Maryland.
Yeah, I have a little. That's the most shaky with them because they really struggled with Charlotte, and that was they came back and the offense moved the ball and great, but it was like, it was a really sloppy play for almost 3 quarters. It was not good.
I'll check the score, see who wins.
But Maryland's currently 14.5-point favorite.
Oh, wow.
Virginia's 0-2, and apparently Virginia is just terrible because that's a pretty big spread. More than 2 touchdowns.
They're an ACC team, right? Virginia?
They are, yep, just like Virginia Tech. But they seem to be on hard times. I may tune in, but we'll see. I don't know how much free time I have. But then this is interesting. I mean, we actually get one Big Ten game. We have one actual Big Ten game. The rest is going to be non-conference stuff.
Yeah, and before last week, I thought this one would have been an interesting game. Now I don't think it really will be.
No, it's kind of bonkers. So let's start at 11 o'clock and let's just talk about it first. I don't think it's game of the week, but I guess if you care about the Big Ten, it's the only one that's super consequential from the Big Ten standings.
Well,
Penn State travels to Illinois. Penn State's 14.5-point favorites.
What if Illinois sneaks in and gets a win?
Well, that would be huge.
That would shake things up a bit.
That would shake things up quite a lot.
Unfortunately, I think Penn State might be better than Ohio State. Like, just watching the shakiness of Ohio State, and they'll be fine, but their quarterback play hasn't been great. I think Ohio State did just name their guy for the season, right? Didn't they just McCord or something like that? Anyways, Penn State looks really good. They look good. They look solid.
I mean, they look like one of the 5 best teams in college football. No, I think it's going to be a tough day for Illinois' defense. It's just they've gotten steamrolled by Kansas, gave a lot of yards to Toledo. I think it's another day where Illinois gives up a lot of yards and short of a bunch of turnovers from Penn State. I think it's going to be Illinois running roughshod. Your Wisconsin Badgers are hosting Georgia Southern. Wisconsin's a 19-point favorite. It's not a lot to say.
No.
Louisville traveling to Indiana. Indiana probably desperately needs this game, but Louisville is actually 10-point favorites going to Indiana. Games, I guess, technically in Indianapolis.
Purdue's former head coach is Louisville's
head
coach now, Jeff Brom, right?
Correct.
Okay. And Louisville's been pretty. I mean, they beat Georgia Tech. So we'll see.
I think Louisville's probably a team that's more decent than great, but decent is probably good enough to be a big favorite at Indiana. And it's not in Bloomington. It's
Indiana's the only team with a loss right now from the Big Ten East. So.
Yep. And that was really only to Ohio State. So I guess.
Right. That's true.
So I wasn't too harsh on them, but correct. Could have been anybody. Both teams had a fair shot on that one. So, I mean, of those, Indiana may be the best one. We'll see. Maybe Illinois can keep it tight against Penn State. But let's get to the afternoon. Things get a little bit more interesting. Let's get to the afternoon. I'm going to skip over your team because let's talk about them later. Northwestern, the drive for 4 wins.
Not happening this Saturday.
They are 18.5-point favorites at Duke, which is weird to think. Or underdogs. Did I say favorites?
Okay.
No, Duke is the 18.5-point favorite. Northwestern is very much the underdog. Big underdog, probably back to their losing ways. We've got Virginia Tech, who just lost to Purdue. They're traveling to Rutgers. This was crazy. Rutgers is a 7-point favorite against Virginia Tech. Well, Virginia Tech, a week ago, Rutgers hosted Northwestern, and Rutgers was basically a 7-point favorite, which kind of tells you where Virginia Tech is at. They aren't great. So Rutgers is a touchdown favorite as well. I'm going to talk about the Hawkeyes real quick. This is Western Michigan. Iowa's hosting Western Michigan. Iowa's 28.5-point favorite, so it's gone up. Iowa really needs to get right game. I'm not worried about Iowa losing the game. I would love for them to score a bunch of points, as I've already mentioned. Western Michigan doesn't have a lot of data points. They hosted they competently beat an FCS team and confidently lost to Syracuse last week. Probably not a great team and one that Iowa can very much win. So we'll see there at 3 o'clock. A little bit later, Ohio State hosts Western Kentucky, 28-point favorites for Ohio State. Blah.
Well, how many points do you think Iowa scores? Just to jump back.
I think Iowa breaks 30. I think Iowa gets to 31. Okay. That's my prediction.
We talked about how Ferentz needs.
I think it's like 31-10.
Okay.
That's my score prediction of the game. 31-10. Iowa doesn't cover the spread, but wins comfortably. And put some points, maybe not as much as we'd like, but it'll be okay.
Okay.
So, this game, I don't know what to think. So it might be a game of the week potentially, but we're going to talk about Minnesota instead. But Washington, the Huskies, 8th-ranked Washington, going to East Lansing to play Michigan State. Washington is currently a 16-point favorite.
Well, and the news of the week probably doesn't help any of that.
Right. I don't know. You're like, we're going to show the world that. What are you going to show the world by beating Washington? I don't know. Everybody's just going to feel kind of gross and weird about this game, frankly.
But, yes, true. But the West Coast traveling east just keeps supporting your theory that all those teams on the West Coast, it's going to be trouble either way. You go west or they come east.
We'll see. But that's a big underdog. It'd be a big
upset.
Who has
Washington beat so far? They probably had some powder puffs on their schedule so far.
Let's pull up their schedule here.
Boise State and Tulsa. So, yeah, they're blowing those teams out.
Not as powdery, but pretty powdery. Not super cream puffs. But, yeah, this is their first real test. That's funny. I think, D'Antonio's back, and I think I saw this on Twitter somewhere, but Penix, our guy, back in Big Ten land. D'Antonio is back as an associate head coach for Michigan State, and Penix, I think, played his first game in Indiana was in 2019 against the last iteration of Mark D'Antonio's Michigan State Spartans. So that's how long Penix has been around. So we'll see. But I don't know. I don't know what to make. I guess I don't think Michigan State's going to win. They could rally around.
Sorry, and so Penix is Washington's quarterback, right?
Yes. Sorry, okay, Michael. Right. Yes, thank you.
You're right.
Yes.
We made a few years ago the Penix jokes, which is just immature. Why would you make that joke? That's just be a grown up. Be a grown up.
Well, do you want to make a Penix joke after all the sexual harassment and?
Yeah, get your head out of the gutter. Come on.
Well, it seems in poor taste. Nebraska's going to get their win against Northern Illinois. It's a 6 o'clock kickoff. Nebraska is 11.5-point favorites. And, I think they win and they talk themselves into winning the Big Ten West. That's what's going to happen. They're going to get one.
They're back on track?
That's what's going to happen. And say, hey, you know what?
They're one down in the loss column in the Big Ten West.
Well, they're terrible. Have you seen how bad Minnesota's offense is? Yeah.
Only room for improvement.
Michigan, 40.5-point favorites over Bowling Green. 40.5. That is a ludicrous line.
Do you think all of sort of the SEC kind of change and Alabama losing and with Florida lost, right? There's a bunch of Texas A&M. Georgia's the only SEC team that seems to have not lost yet. Does that help Michigan? It does, right? Obviously, but do you think they're moving up in the rankings where they have a pretty clear shot? If they win
Michigan's
out,
fine. Michigan's is going to it's a 14 play. Michigan will be in the 14 playoff if they win out.
But does it help the Big Ten that these SEC teams are losing?
Maybe you have to. If you pop the bubble of how great the SEC is, maybe because right now the default is that
they're the best conference. I don't think that's.
Well, if nothing's changed, then it doesn't matter. Then everybody's going to say, "Hey, 10-2 in the SEC is better than 10-2 in the Big Ten. I mean, then that's not going to change anything. You've answered the question. If you can change the assumption there, maybe. But Michigan can still be able to lose one game as long as it's not a terrible loss to a bad team and potentially make the playoff. I mean, the Big Ten could still get 2 teams into the playoff. That's not out of the question. With Penn State, Ohio State, and Michigan all being really, really good. It's just depending on the wins.
Probably not a Big Ten West team, though.
No, I would be willing to take the bet no Big Ten West team makes the college football playoff. I'd be comfortable making that bet.
I don't know enough about how like the SEC's conferences are organized. Are they way lopsided like that? Is there any other power conference that has such a lopsided division setup like the Big Ten?
Not as bad. I mean, I think Georgia's in the, well, somebody correct me if I'm wrong. I'm pretty sure Georgia's in the East.
Because Georgia and Alabama don't always play each other.
Correct. Alabama's in the West.
Except for in their championship game.
I think the SEC West is considered the better of the two because you have LSU and Alabama.
But like Michigan and Ohio State will always play in the regular season.
Probably even once the shakedowns happen. We'll see. Well, who knows for sure? But I would bet that.
I suppose maybe not. Maybe they'll. But then there would be a chance where they wouldn't play. That seems crazy.
Yeah, I think they want that game every week. Yeah. So we'll see. Last game, Syracuse at Purdue. Syracuse 2.5-point favorites. That's probably your tightest game.
I'm going Purdue.
I'll go Syracuse just because.
Heavy on Purdue.
I got it. You're convinced you're a Purdue believer, Boiler believer. But let's talk Minnesota's trip. 2:30 kickoff. Minnesota traveling to Chapel Hill, North Carolina, to take on the 20th ranked North Carolina Tar Heels. How are you feeling about that matchup? Your Gophers are 7.5-point underdogs.
Oh, that's not bad. I thought it would have been a much larger line. So apparently North Carolina, there's some controversy with their school. There's a player who was ruled ineligible. I think he's like a wide receiver.
Yep.
Was a transfer from another school and was trying to get like a medical whatever waiver to not have to sit out, but the NCAA is like making him sit out. So I remember hearing Mac Brown, their coach, go crazy about how bullshit he thought it was, which is kind of bullshit. Like,
the rules are very opaque.
During COVID,
and confusing.
you could transfer, and like, what does it really matter? Like, I guess you don't want people just switching schools every year, but like, why not? Why does that matter? Like, who's that hurting? You don't like the school you're at? Shouldn't you be able to switch schools, or you got to stay there? That seems stupid, right? No? You disagree?
No. You're fine. I think you're right. I was letting you cook. Totally fine. I think that makes sense. I mean, right now, there should be no restriction on transferring. I don't think. Other than the deadline, other than you have to decide by a certain point.
By a certain point in the season, you can't do it like this. You can't have like a halfway through the season.
Well, it's like whatever the deadline is in April or whenever it is. Like then you're done and you're locked in until next April, whatever.
Yeah, that makes sense. But other than that, like if you want to switch schools, switch schools.
Sure. Right? I agree. You're not getting any pushback from me.
Especially because like
you get no pushback from me, Mister.
NIL money. Like if you're at, I think this dude's at like Kent State. Like, if you have a chance to go to Alabama and make some NIL money, you should be able to fucking do that, right?
Sure. You
or
fucking
go
should.
to North Carolina. Yeah, you fucking should. That's right. So, yeah, I'm not looking great. This is going to be a Gopher loss, I think. I'd be very happy if they went to North Carolina.
So, even though North Carolina struggled against Appalachian State, that didn't give you any confidence or hope?
No. I mean... Appalachian State beat Michigan that one time, right? So
yeah,
it happens.
Yeah. Sure. Okay. Interesting. Well,
the Gophers haven't looked very good. That's the other piece of it.
It's really. I mean, for a while, the Eastern Michigan game was a little dicey until the Gophers wore them down. Eventually, they wore them down with the running game.
And maybe they can do that against North Carolina. I don't know.
We'll see, but they're out of the no longer the friendly confines of Huntington Bank.
Yeah, finally has to go on the road. It's a tough stretch for the Gophers, though.
Well, no, I mean, if the Gophers win this, they have Northwestern the week. They're going to 4-0. No, the Gophers.
This is the easiest part of their schedule.
Right. So the Gophers, if the Gophers win this, the Gophers are going to be 5-0. They're gonna rattle off 5 wins.
If they win this, I think they'll be a ranked team.
Probably. Then
they go on the road to beat a ranked North Carolina.
Yeah. They'll be in the top 25, and then they take on Northwestern the next week, hosting Louisiana week 5.
My Northwestern Wildcats.
Yeah, which sadly won't be an opportunity for them to win against your Gophers. But then it gets tough. Then you host Michigan, then you go to Iowa State, then you host. Then you get into more of the meat of the schedule. But you got a chance, really, if the Gophers get this done, rattle off 5 wins, and then they're positioned to get that over. We both picked them to do the under, but I
don't think they win this game, but.
Okay, sadly, right. That's fine. Sadly. But even then, 4-1 won't be bad. They won't be ranked probably, but it gets the smooth waters coming on the horizon after week 3.
But I'll probably watch that. I'll watch the Gopher game.
Of course, that game looks exciting. I'll be watching Iowa, but also be tuning in to the Gophers, keeping very close tabs on that game, see how your Gophers do.
I think it's probably of all the games, maybe the most interesting one to watch.
That's what I think so.
I think it's on ESPN too. So
sure, Syracuse and Purdue is probably going to be a fun one. I think Purdue seems like entertaining watch. Regardless, you're going to get some points and back and forth.
That's true. Yeah.
But it's probably more consequential. Minnesota certainly has aspirations of winning the Big Ten West. So currently, the front runners, the only Big Ten West team with a Big Ten win. So number 1 in the rankings, in the standings. So this one would be if Gophers win, then you got to think, okay, they're seriously Big Ten West title contenders. If not, they're contenders, but maybe just a little less serious. Maybe.
But if they lose, then Iowa's the only undefeated team in the Big Ten West.
That's true. Then Iowa. Then we'll have to start saying the undefeated Iowa Hawkeyes. That's what we'll have to do.
For sure, dude.
All right,
bro. That was all I have for week 3 of the college football season in the Big Ten. Thanks for listening, everybody.
Catch you later. Bye-bye.